Water is refreshingly interesting. Hi, and welcome to this Perceptive Readers. I'm James Lynch, and today I want to talk briefly about water, something that refreshes our soul. When you think about it, for hundreds and hundreds of years, all the way down to our day, people most likely just don't give, too much thought to even the components or makeup of water. And yet it has been used again throughout the centuries for drinking, to sustain our bodies, because remember, we can't even go, 7 days or what have you without it, something like that. And then even on top of that, men and women have found out the power of water, the way it can be used, and yes, even the the cleanliness of water, and the washing, and one other thing too, on the lubrication of water. It's just so many ways it's used other than just, again, for the needs of our body. Men and women have appreciated that for centuries. So with that thought, since most likely, I would say, people went about their lives, just using it in these different ways. It still wasn't until the 17 or 1800s, starting with a man named Henry Cavendish, who discovered the composition of water, that, hey, it's not just water, it's made up of other items. We know now today, when people look at the periodic or elemental charts and things of that nature, they call it H2O. It's made up of hydrogen and oxygen. And with that being the knowledge and awareness that has come about from the 1800s, water continues to share something else with us, because it can be in a liquid form, a gas form, and also a solid form. It can be frozen into ice. And these type of transitions or states of water helps us to see even deeper things with the universe, the way it is made up, how there are different bodies and compositions made up in that way, from the earth, the wind, the fire. All of those are different transitions and energies that we see upon this earth today. However, water is the only one out of all of these different types of compositions that can be or transition, from a solid state to a gaseous state, and on one other state, liquid. Yes, from a solid state, liquid, and gas. Yes, there we go. I just wanted to make sure I got that. Now, with that being stated, this is the point of this Perceptive Readers podcast as well. It tells us something again, even with the state of human consciousness. The human ability to also, since we're getting into spiritual side of talking about things, that goes to show, and even the good book agrees with this, that you can have a physical body, however, you can be gifted from God to actually receive a spiritual body, invisible in that state. So in other words, even though your body changed, who you are, your mind, your consciousness, your light, if you will, can be transferred into another state that it comes from God, that he makes for persons who actually go to heaven. With that being said, there are many reasons why the Product of Culture website, is beneficial, and has a variety of reasons why I talk about this subject, also from stories to writings and things of that nature, is because just like humans for hundreds and hundreds and now thousands of years, were able to just go about their lives appreciating what water does for them, there were ideals that maybe popped in some of their minds at times saying, oh, how does it, end up in the clouds and then end up right now in my pond or lake? You see, and you see the process, it is happening, but you just don't always know the information or the design behind it exactly why it is so. So there can be a lot of hypothetical situations and thoughts about how water, up until the 1800s, how we get these 3 states of water. But now we know. And that actually, again, took time for man to figure it out. As I said, at least from the history books, Henry Cavendish as one, you see. Now, same thing with spiritual matters. Many persons know something, or they understand something. They experience certain things at times. And in the process of trying to figure it all out, you see, it's not that they don't know something is happening, but they don't always receive the accurate information that they want to understand exactly what is happening. You see, the same thing it was with water, finding out exactly what the elements were and how, when they combine and come together, what is the chemical reaction. Well, it's the same thing with the knowledge, you see, of spiritual matters at times and spirituality. You can feel good about certain things, but then you have to ask the question, do I still have the very accurate information of exactly what was going on or where it was at? And I'm just going to mention persons at times too even reference statements from the good book as far as what they know, but they may not, you see, remember exactly the exact passage. They may not remember the exact author, or remember God is the author of the Bible, but he had different men and secretaries who actually wrote what was written. So sometimes a person may state something as coming from somebody who is very well respected, you see, even in Moses, you see, and yet they'll come to find out when they look for it from Moses, they may say, see, it's not in here. Why did you make it up like that? But if they continue on further, you see, to read through the other books, and then they end up coming to books like Isaiah, they will see that the spirit and the thought of what a person was talking about is, once again, close to being accurate in the first place. And that's what has to be done. The same way it took time for a couple of men to really, over some years to find out what water was made up, the composition of water, and how it changes to those different states. It's the same thing with God's word. At times, it's the same thing with other spiritual knowledge. It just takes time. It takes research. And then, eventually through that effort, perceptive reading along with applying what you do know, you end up getting the full picture, if you will, of what's going on. So thank you for being here on this Perceptive Readers this week. I'm James, and you have a good day. You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.